Welcome to Seeker of Light. In the rush of our daily lives, amidst the noise and the concrete, it's easy to feel disconnected, to forget that beauty and hope can bloom in the most unexpected of places. Today, we share a story about such a discovery, a reminder to pause, to observe, and to let your soul breathe. This is Sunflowers in the City. The city was a symphony of hurried footsteps and distant sirens, a relentless rhythm that Elias felt deep in his bones. Every morning, the towering steel and glass structures seemed to lean in a little closer, the muted grays of the urban landscape reflecting the monotone of his routine. He was an architect of digital worlds, crafting elegant solutions on a glowing screen. Yet his own world felt increasingly cluttered and dim. Burnout, they called it. Elias called it slowly fading. His commute was a river of anonymous faces, each a fleeting story he'd never know. He'd often find himself staring blankly out of the bus window, the city a blur of concrete and steel. One particularly bleak afternoon, a gnawing emptiness settled in. The weight of deadlines, the pressure to innovate, the isolation of a life lived largely online, it all felt crushing. He decided to walk part of the way home, hoping the rhythm of his steps on the pavement might ground him. He took a less familiar route, a narrow street sandwiched between a towering new office block and an old, forgotten warehouse. The air was thick with the usual city smells of exhaust and damp concrete. And then he saw it. A small, defiant patch of green, no bigger than a welcome mat, nestled against the warehouse wall. And erupting from this tiny island of earth like a burst of captured sunshine were 3 sunflowers. 3! Not neatly planted, not part of any municipal design, but wild, resilient, and gloriously out of place. Elias stopped, really stopped. For the first time in what felt like months, the city's noise seemed to recede. He crouched down, drawn to their impossible vibrancy. Their heads, heavy with seeds, faced the sliver of afternoon sun that managed to slice through the tall buildings. Their petals were a shade of yellow so intense it almost hurt to look at, yet it was a welcome ache. One stem was slightly bent, as if bowing in a gentle breeze only it could feel. A few city-worn bees, dusty and determined, clumsily navigated the golden florets. They weren't perfect. Their leaves were a little tattered, speckled with city dust. They were growing in the shadow of giants, from a crack of earth most people would overlook, or even see as an imperfection to be paved over. Yet here they were, undeniably alive, reaching for the light with an unwavering, silent determination. A strange sense of peace washed over Elias. It wasn't a grand revelation, no sudden solution to his fatigue. It was simpler, quieter, a tiny, warm ember igniting in the cold expanse of his chest. These sunflowers, in their improbable tenacity, were a testament to life's persistent search for light, for growth, even in the harshest environments. They weren't just surviving, they were, in their own quiet way, thriving. He found himself visiting them every day on his way home. Sometimes he'd just stand and look. Other days, he brought a small bottle of water, a silent offering. He'd notice the subtle changes, a new leaf unfurling, the way their heads tracked the meager city sun. He even took a few photos with his phone, not for any grand artistic purpose, but just to hold on to that feeling, that tiny spark. It was his secret garden, a miniature sanctuary. The sunflowers didn't magically solve his problems. The city was still demanding, his work still challenging, but something had shifted within him. He started to notice other small rebellions of nature, a determined vine climbing a brick wall, a patch of moss greening a forgotten alley. He began to see the city not just as a concrete monolith, but as a place where life, in its myriad forms, was always seeking a way. Those sunflowers, in their bright, audacious beauty, had reminded him of a simple truth: light can be found, even in the most shadowed corners. Hope isn't always a grand beacon. Sometimes it's a single, stubborn bloom pushing through the cracks, inviting you to notice, to breathe, and to perhaps find your own way to turn towards the sun. The sunflowers in Elias's story teach us that resilience and beauty often appear where we least expect them. May we all find our own sunflowers in the cityscape of our lives, those small, bright sparks that remind us to keep seeking the light. Thank you for joining us on Seeker of Light. Remember to pause, look around, and let your soul breathe. Subscribe for more stories that illuminate the path within. Until next time.